in the Democrats' side, Bernie he's catching his stride now, and he is again every time Secretary Clinton, as he likes to call her. Why do we keep calling her Secretary Clinton? Okay, because she was a former secretary, she was a former senator too. But anyway, he was the winner. She just keeps putting out her platform and trying to progress. I'm more progressive than Bernie. Really, how is that?
Well, she seems to have her staff all got together and wrote up all her talking points for the debate, which seems to be like you've mentioned. Well, progressive means progress, and then calling out Bernie Sanders on, well, this person's not progressive, but Obama's not progressive actually,
No, he's not.
and Joe Biden's certainly not progressive, and of course, Bernie has to walk that line.
Well, and here's the other funny thing: she calls him out on something on guns. When hell, there are like 90 million gun owners in the U.S. And so Bernie is probably thinking, I'm probably picking up votes right now from the Democrats because how many people in South Carolina actually are members of the NRA because they're not voting for Hillary?
They love guns in South Carolina. They love guns. Americans love guns.
The Bern, he was thinking, hey, this might actually work in my advantage.
Well, and then she's got her talking point of, well, name one thing where money has influenced me. Yeah, I take a lot of money. I take a lot of money from everybody. I go on the speaking circuit and everybody gives me money. But there's a laundry list. Elizabeth Warren called her out on that already. There's a laundry list of things. And of course, I would say the one thing, and it's because it's who Bernie is, that doesn't work in his favor in these instances, is he's not a Trump-like attack dog. Because he could just turn around and go, you freaking liar. He could turn around and go, when she starts bragging about, how great she was as Secretary of State, judgment, Obama's judgment, he made me Secretary of State. He'd go, look, bitch, look at what you guys did. You wrecked everything.
Well,
and making you Secretary of State was part of his deal with the devil so that you could be president in 8 years.
Yeah, and of course, how can she be part of the establishment because she's a woman running for? Are you kidding me?
That's her establishment. Well, being a woman, if that's not establishment, I don't know what it is. And her other big thing is, did you see the smug smile on her face about the email thing? Like, oh, it's not a problem. Because it's not. And it was hey, I'm above the law.
Yeah.
Barry is going to pardon me. Nobody's going to indict me. I mean, she is so confident about that and so flippant.
Rhett Lynch has already been told, hands off. I don't care unless they have a picture of her or a video shooting somebody, she doesn't get indicted.
And she knows it. That was the smug, I am above the law look. And her other dodge, when it's top-notch investigative journalist Lee Fong asking her the question, over a rope at an event, will you release your transcripts? And she just cackles and looks the other way. And then when it's in the middle of a debate and one of the MSNBC shills, and they're still shilling for her in this debate, ask her the question. She just says, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Translation, no, I will not release them.
Yeah, exactly.
And if Bernie,
for Goldman Sachs years,
and if Bernie was Trump, he wouldn't let that thing go. He'd be all over her. But that's not in his nature to do that.
That is the point. I switched over to Fox to hear their interpretation of what happened, because of course they have a free for all on Hillary. They don't care, and they made that comment that if she thinks any of the Republicans are going to give pass on this, it's going to look terrible. Bernie is handing her a gift, but he's still outdoing her.
Yeah, and the other side of the coin is, since there's only a limited amount of time in these debates and town halls, anytime he spends attacking her on stuff like that, he's not talking about the issues, and he's not talking about what he can do for people. He's attacking her.
But he's there to win. He should be there to win because it's better for the country.
No, I agree with you. He could be harsher and call her out a lot more. He could.
Well, you don't have to do it, and you don't have to do it Trump style where you say the same thing over 50 times, or in one, interview. But he really he'll say, okay, definitively, you screwed up the Middle East. You know, you were the worst Secretary of State in history. The Middle East is now siphoning off millions of people into Europe because there's mega bloodshed over there. And, oh, by the way, you don't get a pass on Wall Street, period. You know, they didn't call you there because they thought you were going to tear them down. You know, they're not asking Bernie to come speak at Goldman Sachs.
Well, this is the other thing, is the big problem, the root of all evil is they need to break up the banks. And what Hillary says is, you know, oh, I'm going to be tough on everything, and if we need to break up the banks, we got Dodd-Frank, which is so watered down it's meaningless at this point. If we need to break up the banks, we got Dodd-Frank, and I'm going to do it. And Bernie's like, no, we need to break them up now. That is the progressive stance.
Everybody knows that. I think this is clear. Everybody knows she's the Wall Street candidate. In fact, on Fox they said, who are the two people that Wall Street would most like to see be elected? Hillary and Jeb. Okay, this is simple. The other guys are all kind of wild cards. You know, you don't really, well, you know what Bernie's going to do. He's going to break up the banks.
He's going to break them up.
But even the other ones, they don't really trust what Cruz would do. They don't trust what Trump would do, and they don't trust what Rubio would do. The Jeb and Hillary ticket is the one that they wanted because they wanted the status quo to remain the same. Nothing progressive about that. You know, we only created 150,000 jobs, was reported today, but they're saying, oh well, the unemployment rate went down 1/10 of a point. Why did the unemployment rate go down 1/10 of the point? Because people dropped out of the labor force because they can't get a job.
Right. Well, and Bernie did talk about solutions for jobs, which is bringing money back for, you know, that's just sitting. How many billion-dollar unicorn sports franchises could you make from 1% of all that money?
Okay, but here's the problem with Bernie's strategy, and why I favor Plan 182. The problem with Bernie's strategy is, if you bring that money back, those corporations aren't going to invest it anyway. They're just going to give it to stockholders in dividends if they do anything. Okay, so the real thing is we have access to wealth is basically for things that don't generate any wealth. This goes all the way back to the movie Wall Street. Michael Douglas, through Oliver Stone's script, said it perfectly. We create nothing. There's no expansion whatsoever. One person wins, one loses.
But the point I'm making, just the point that I'm trying to make, is that he talked about things that could potentially create jobs. He talked about trade, you know, fair trade as opposed to free trade. Because, dude, this TTP thing basically loses American sovereignty. You know that it means that corporations can sue the U.S. government if they feel that they're not being treated fairly in trade. It's ridiculous, and it completely blows all of Obama's progressive credentials. Just, you know, forget about it. So at least he's talking about things. Now, Clinton on TTP leaves it open to change it. Well, right now I don't like how it is. So she doesn't commit to anything.
No.
She makes no commitment. She just says, well, I'm going to do this, but doesn't commit to what could actually do something.
Well, the stand is to go out, you know, and say, see, there's sand. There's sand. And there's no line in the sand. There's sand. And so she never makes a commitment on anything because she wants to be massively flexible so she can get money and get favors from the next group that wants to give her money. So I never actually said I was going to break the banks, did I? I didn't say that.
And the other thing is, and tell me if you agree or disagree, but there seems to be a tonal change in all this since these Democratic debates started. Like, Bernie now has moments of seeming very presidential. When he's talking with fervor about what he believes in and what his passions are, he seems bully pulpit presidential. Hillary is getting more and more shrill and defensive. When these started, she was disregarding both those guys. It was just, hey, this is my stage to shine. This is mine. These gadflies are going to be gone pretty soon. And she just, you know, may the force be with you. I am great. I am a woman. Love me. These guys suck. And now she's getting like, oh crap.
Yeah, she's getting desperate. She's going Howard Dean on us now. So Here's the other thing that was most interesting, and you called this a long time ago about millennials and Bernie. Hillary lost on the female vote in Iowa below the age of 30. She lost by 70 percentage points to Bernie. That is telling, and it's astounding. So why don't young women like Hillary? Well, because she's not doing anything for them.
Right, because young women have hope and dreams and aspirations, and young women now live in the first generation where their generation is not better off than their parents.
Right.
And they want to see change. They want to see hope. They want to see somebody who's going to do something, and not somebody who's going to come out and say, no, we can't. We can't do this. We can't have universal health care. You know, I mean, and Hillary came out with a blatant lie, saying she came out of the gate lying. Everyone in the room knew she was lying. That, you know, well, Bernie's going to dismantle Obamacare. But I digress. But the young people, the young woman, they want to see somebody who's going to, with big ideas, who's going to make their life better, not say, well, stuff is kind of okay as it is. And everybody knows that Hillary is not even as progressive as Obama. So it's actually a step in the other direction. And the thing is, the further the left moves to the right, the farther the right moves to the right. So it's...
Okay, there it is. There it is. You summed it up.